gotta get Barbara.
Seersucker suit on a hot summer day. Coffee comes back in a nerve-wracking way. The dishes and laundry take the garbage out. What a day, what a day, what a day.
Well, welcome to Capital Region Today. I'm so happy that you're joining us today. We have a really great lineup, lots of great information coming in today. We're going to be talking about dogs and dog training and veterans. That's going to be our first segment. Then we're going to be talking about reading is fun. And yes, reading really is fun. Then we're going to be talking about astronomy and the space and what's going on. And really, are you going to take that space ride? Who knows? Might be coming up. And then we're going to be talking about goosebumps, which is the fear that we have, about when things get a little scary. And then we're going to go right back down to Schenectady, right into the Stockade. We're going to be talking about their art show coming up, and that's going to be coming up in September. But before that, the next segment, we're going to be talking about the garden tour. Amazing hidden gardens in the Stockade. We will be talking about that. So we've got a great lineup, and we're going to start right out with Sonya Boerd. Sonya is with us with an organization called, and I'm not sure if it's pronounced IBi. Is that how it is? IBi? Do I count the letters or do I say IBi?
IBi.
IBi, there we go. It's IBi Semper, which of course is the Semper Fidel, that kind of stick-togetherness training. So we're going to find out all about that. So yeah, Sonya, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And tell me what you do, because you do something really a little bit different. Correct. And I'm amazed at what you do. So let's tell our viewers.
We train veterans and first responders with PTSD to train their dogs to become PTSD service
That's
dogs.
the difference. It's their own dog. Or what if they don't have a dog?
We will temperament test a dog from a local shelter and rescue, and we have been lucky enough to work with the Lucky Puppy Rescue in Argyle to pull dogs from them to use as PTSD service dogs. And IBi SemperTraining is picking up the adoption fee, so we will pay for that. We will pay for the training. There's absolutely no cost to the veterans or the first responders.
Mm-hmm. So how do you, well, first of all, you use veterans.
Yes.
And or first responders.
Correct.
Correct.
Both. Yes.
How do they know to come to you?
So far it has been word of mouth. This is really, and I'm really, really grateful, the local community has been fantastic.
I saw you on Spectrum yesterday,
Yes.
and you said that you were filmed elsewhere, too.
Yes. We are having a podcast coming up on Friday. We had a Times Union piece that they took from our press release, and we had Spectrum News come to us and film us during training.
And where do you do your training?
We have, and again, I'm so grateful for the in-kind donations. We have two locations, one in Albany with the American Legion post 1520, the Joseph E. Saloga post, and then also with the Schenectady Armory Center in Schenectady. So we're in Albany and Schenectady.
So Ray Lucier, does he help you train those dogs? I'm
No.
not sure. No, I don't think so. Sorry, Ray. You don't get that one job.
But he's fantastic. I mean, when we connected in 2020 has been bad in so many days. I count my blessings. So 2020 I used for networking. I did so much outreach and networking, and that is how my contacts came about and the in-kind donations for training facilities.
Okay, what got you started? Because, I mean, this is not something you wake up in the morning and say, oh, I think I'd like to do that. But tell me what the impetus was for that.
So there is no military experience in my family, really. My dad, coming from Germany, was in the military in Germany, and that was before I was born, so I had no history with that. But when I ended up getting my own puppy, and I went to puppy classes, I ended up volunteering with an organization and started training, started to do outreach, started to organize events, and that is how I ended up getting started. I left that organization in December of 2018, and I thought, this is it, I'm taking a break. I'm focusing on my hobby, which is photography. I joined a local society, photography society, and I thought that was it. And then veterans came to me, approached me and said, we would love to train with you. Could you please help us out?
Oh, so
And
got, that's your,
So more and more veterans came to me, and I said, I might as well make it official.
Yeah.
And that's how I started with
you
my
started
own
this
organization.
nonprofit corporation.
Right.
So the purpose is, are they like comfort dogs? No, tell me a little bit more about what
Yes.
purpose the dogs serve.
So a service dog is not the same
No, I know.
as a therapy dog, is not the same as an emotional support
They're
dog.
totally different.
Totally different. So a service dog is individually task trained. That is what differentiates it from an emotional support dog. Emotional support dogs and service dogs are only there for their handlers.
And they don't really get any special privileges.
The service dogs do.
No, the emotional support dogs do.
No.
Yeah,
They have some, but really
Yeah.
nothing like a service
a
dog.
service dog. I just wanted to differentiate that the service dog is a cut above.
Right, so a service dog is not considered a pet.
Mm-hmm.
A service dog by law is considered medical equipment and henceforth has access to public spaces other dogs do not. Because they look at it as, for example, a wheelchair or crutches.
Mm-hmm.
Would you allow somebody, or would you not allow someone that is in a wheelchair
Right.
access to
Right.
a location just because they're in a wheelchair? The dogs, like I said, are not pets. They're considered medical equipment. So anywhere that the public is allowed within reason. So, for example, an operation room where it's sterile or an x-ray room, they would not be allowed. But those are really the exceptions.
Yeah, well,
to
and
the
it
rule.
makes sense, because
Right.
they don't allow any other people in there anyway.
Right.
Well, a dog is not a people. I have to say that I've been at Proctor's when people come in with a service dog. Those dogs are amazing. They lay right under the seat, and they don't make a peep.
They're not supposed to, yes. So I have had dogs that we trained that went on airplanes, one of our dogs that I trained ended up in a sidecar in Utah, and shout out to Lou. And he ended up riding with his veteran in a sidecar through Utah. They do amazing, amazing things. They take the veterans that haven't gone out for a year and a half to go grocery shopping themselves. They do so many things to comfort them, to reduce the anxiety and the depression that now veterans are able to.
It's got to be awful, coming from a war zone or a situation where it's life or death, and then it's just awful.
You'd be surprised. Not only veterans have PTSD.
No, I know.
PTSD can occur in anyone that
Anybody.
has a traumatic experience. It could be.
You could be kidnapped, and you'll never
Correct.
get. Yeah.
It could be sexual trauma. It could be an earthquake. It could be really a car accident, any kind of traumatic event. PTSD can occur.
Well, I think you're doing some great work, Sonya, and I applaud what you're doing, and I'm sure that if anyone wants to learn more about it, they can go to your website and also learn how to donate and perhaps even volunteer. So please check out her website. I think we have that up on the screen. And if not, it's IBi, I want to say that right,
Yes.
SemperTraining.org, which is a nonprofit. And please support them if you can. We'd appreciate that. I would appreciate it. I'm sure that anyone with
PTSD.
post-traumatic stress syndrome, let me get that right, it will appreciate it. Thanks so much, Sonya, for being here today.
Thank you.
We're going to switch right over to find out about reading, and who doesn't like to read? Well, I know I love to read, but some kids just don't have that ability or haven't been exposed to it. We have Al Magid here, and he's started the Reading is Fun program. Let's find out what he's doing and what he's doing at the Schenectady school system, and about a big event coming up in November. Hi, Al. Good to see you.
Hi, dear. Glad to be
Who'd you
back.
bring with you? Bookworm?
Bookworm. He is, I shouldn't say he, gender neutral, okay? He, she, was the second member of our organization, highly esteemed. And part of the attraction to getting Bookworm was the title of the book, Bookworm. When I occasionally do volunteer work, I do mostly administrative
You do administrative work, okay.
I will use Bookworm as a pedagogical device. I will ask the children, they're between 4 and 9 years old, how many words? I say 2 words. What are the 2 words? Some can read it, some cannot. Those who can will say bookworm. They say, well, what does that mean? I said, what is your name? Your name is Billy Jones? This guy is bookworm. But then getting deeper into pedagogy, I say there is a word, bookworm, with no spacing. Does anybody know? And occasionally someone says, oh yeah, bookworm is somebody who loves to read.
Who loves to read, absolutely.
Right.
Now, you're working in the school system, is that
Yes,
correct?
We work at all 11 schools.
Okay, all 11 Schenectady school systems, okay.
Primary schools. We work very strictly from 4 to 9 years old, from pre-K, grades 1, 2, and
From
3.
pre-K? From pre-K up to,
If we have to.
is it 9 years old?
Yeah.
Okay,
And that's not an accident. The national data are compelling. Kids who are not on the reading track by the end of the 3rd grade are not likely to get on it, or it'll be a lifetime struggle. So our feeling is we want to get them at the pass. We want to get them at the foundational level, love of reading, beginning to develop skills, et cetera, et cetera. If you can do that, then you've got a shot at making that kid
is it because, Al, that some children are just not exposed to books? Or
Yeah,
is it that they're kind of like watching TV or playing with their iPad and not really?
Well, there are a lot of distractions,
Yeah.
obviously. I'm 83 years old, so you didn't have these, you had radio, and that wasn't much of a distraction for me. Now you have competitive distractions, okay? And so it makes getting involved with reading difficult. We try to counter that stress by not treating it as pedagogy, but as fun.
Yeah, it's fun, and that's why you call it reading is
That's
fun.
right. That's
Now,
fun.
you choose, is this open to all the children or the ones that the teachers
teachers.
actually spot that need the extra
We're very
help?
strict about that.
And if so, you now assign someone to work with them?
That's right.
And how often do they do that?
Once a week, at least once a week. For
Once a
up
week,
to an
okay.
hour. And more than occasionally, a teacher will say to me, well, Al, Dr. Magid, I've got a great kid, great reader in the 3rd grade. If you gave him or her a mentor, by the end of 3rd grade, might be up to the 5th grade. I said, that's wonderful, but that's not what we're about.
Yeah,
We want the kid who is struggling,
who's struggling, that one needs to get
And
that.
the teachers are very cooperative.
Yeah, and it's funny how, which I realized is my ex-husband was involved with special ed, and they can hide pretty much that they can't read.
Yeah.
And you think they can, and then you realize that they are not reading it. They're mimicking or something.
There's all sorts of masking behavior. I'm not into dementia, hopefully not yet, but I'm losing some memory. And I retired from a long career at U-Albany as
Yeah,
a science
you were
professor,
professor there, yeah.
about 20 years ago. And I recall for about the last 10 years, I was slipping a bit. So we usually had a long intercession, 3.5 weeks before, February, December, January. And I might have a very, very good student. I know it's a good student got an A with me. And that student's going to come back and take the follow-up course. And will greet me, I know the face, clearly. I'll be darned if I know the name. Can't remember the name. So
Yeah.
I became very skillful at
Yeah.
faking it. I would say, geez, I'm not good at spelling. Can you spell your last name for me?
Oh, well, that's good,
So
yeah.
innocently, the student would spell the last name. In fact, I was plugging into my disability, you see. So, yeah, kids are very creative.
Absolutely.
And, we've got to stay with them and ahead of them. They're doing this voluntarily, and they're not accustomed to this. This last year, until the pandemic.
Last year was a little difficult
Yeah,
with that
it
because
was-
the kids weren't in school. They were doing it on Zoom.
Precisely it.
And it made it difficult for the students who didn't have computers or the ability to get
Absolutely.
Wi-Fi.
Absolutely.
But you've got a big event coming up in November, and that's the Scrabble-Rama.
We have,
And so now that's coming up on, I believe, I have the date here, it's on November the 6th.
right. We
is what you
have 2 major events. We have continuing events. The events continuing are mentoring our kids, obviously, okay? The 2 very special events, one is in the fall, We didn't have it last year because of the pandemic, because both events are held in the Schenectady High School cafeteria, which is a wonderful, wonderful space. It's a school district is very cooperative.
Right, right.
And that's what we call a Scrabble-Rama. That's a fundraiser.
And you pay to play, and it's, you play as teams, is that it?
Yeah, we pay teams.
Yeah.
If you don't come with a team, we can get a team for you. And we do pretty well. You know, we're not after a lot of money. We need money principally to buy books.
Yeah.
Because we are dedicated, missionary.
And do you give the books to the kids?
Absolutely.
You give the books to the kids,
Every
so
time.
hopefully that they'll pass it on to their younger brothers or sisters.
Every time a kid works with a mentor, my wife has had that experience for years now on a weekly basis, the kid gets a book, and many of the kids are awestruck by that. The name is in the book. That's my name. Yeah, that's your name.
Well, it's
That's my
important.
book. That's my book.
Yeah.
I can keep that book.
So
Yes, I can keep that book.
it's probably the first book that they've ever owned.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So in a sense, it's sight games. It's not deep Freud, but you know, we're working with kids who are challenged.
Yep.
We don't get into the reasons for the challenge. We don't get into medical stuff. We're not shrinks. You know, we just.
You're just trying to solve a problem that
Precisely-
appears to be there.
Precisely,
Yeah, and in the medical people, if the person's dyslexic or has autism or something, they can work with that. You're just trying to get them focused on books, learning to appreciate books and to enjoy books. If you need mentors, how do you get them?
Well, we advertise.
You advertise for them.
We had about 3-week ad, that was for Scrabble-Rama last year, which we did not hold, but we invite people to volunteer, and we do have volunteers.
Okay,
Despite
so
the-
they can go to your website.
Yeah, despite the adversities of the pandemic, we had last year about 55, 60 volunteers, working with about 150.
Well, that's quite a
volunteers.
few, but not enough.
Now, my goal, very simply, is this. I want every kid who needs a mentor to have a mentor.
And that mentor also becomes a friend,
Oh,
if,
yeah,
and that may be just what that child
That's
needs.
right. And, you know, we make it clear in our training of the mentor, you're not a surrogate parent, and keep your hands off. You know, we don't want any Cuomo kind of stuff.
No, yeah,
Keep your
exactly.
hands off, you know. But be, you know, be commiserating.
Yeah.
Be.
Listen, if they've got a problem, want to talk about it, let them do
Be
it.
wonderful, okay?
Yeah.
And low stress, no stress.
Yeah.
Low stress, no stress. And it's
Well,
working well.
the important thing is to get, first of all, to get people to join in the Scrabble-Rama, but also to go to your website and learn how to become a volunteer, and maybe make donations of books, or else make a donation and you can get the books.
That's right. We have two, a secondary and a primary office. Our primary is at Faith United Methodist Church. at,
Okay.
McClellan and Union Street, or Eastern Avenue. We have a very big library, thousands of books there.
Oh, wonderful.
I mean, we don't collect books to collect books. We're not a library.
No, you want the
I mean,
books to
my
go
ideal
out.
would be for every book we get, by the end of the day, that book is gone.
Yeah, that's perfect.
You know, is gone. And then we have another event that will come up prayerfully if the schools are open. Will come up in next March 26th. We hold our annual Grand Reading Jamboree.
Oh, then you got to come back on the show and talk about
will,
that.
I
That's going to
will.
be in March, is that it?
Yeah, March 26th.
I'm marking that down, and you're going to get an invite to come on.
And I will come.
Always good to have you on the show, Al, and you're doing such wonderful work, and I hope that people will join in, become volunteers, become mentors, and get those kids to know that reading really is fun.
This is my 9th or 10th visit.
I know, you've been on a few
Uh,
times.
You are a wonderful, wonderful patron
Thank you.
of reading, of all sorts of courses, but of reading. So, love you.
Thank you. Love you too. Hi, and we're going to switch right over to space, and I'm ready.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. Do you think we can get tickets for, what is it, 40?
You know-
How much? 40,000?
Oh, no, they're more than that.
Oh, I
They're
don't know. I'm
really
making up a number.
expensive. Yeah, I think they go for hundreds of thousands of dollars at the moment. But
Yeah, Dr. Valerie Rapson. She's an assistant professor now at Oneonta
Yes.
College.
Yeah, I had a bit of a career change, so I appreciate you having me here, even though I'm slightly outside the capital region.
That's okay. We love you because you've been on before, and
thank
we've
you.
always had so much fun with you and learning
thank
about the space. And why we shouldn't be afraid of it, and why
Right.
we should learn about it, and
Right.
why is it expanding, and all those good things. So tell me what your pet peeves or what's going
Oh,
on.
well, there's just so much cool stuff going on. We have been observing a nova that was in the
I
sky all
know.
summer. I had some students look at this. It was really cool. It got really bright for a couple of days, dimmed back down, which is something that stars do, but not often, frequently enough for us to be able to observe them here in the Northern Hemisphere. So that was really fun. We've got people going to space, Jeff Bezos, Ted Branson, and all of their crew. I just can't wait for my ticket, right? I hope someday that I have enough money, or maybe the costs come down so that I can get up there
Maybe
too.
there'll be a lottery,
Maybe.
and you and I can get the top 2 seats.
I like that.
That
I like
sounds
that
good.
idea. Mhm.
As a kid, I was always interested in space, always. It was something that always fascinated me.
Too.
And it's one of those things that, we learned about Mars, and we learned about, Pluto. What
Right.
happened to Pluto? Poor Pluto.
I know, Pluto's still there. We still love it. There's all sorts of new stuff. They're doing more analysis from the New Horizons mission. I see papers coming out all the time, new data, new pictures. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, and there's, was an asteroid, what's going on? Something's coming past us. What is it?
Well, there's asteroids coming, the Perseid meteor shower.
Perseid, okay, that's what
Yeah,
I'm
that
thinking.
comes up, peaks August 12th. It's happening right now, so people might go outside and see some fireballs and meteors in the sky right now.
We
but
shouldn't be
August
scared.
12th No, we shouldn't be scared. They look really big, but even those ones that create the bright flash are often grain of sand size. They're just coming in so fast and so hot.
And
that
they're
they look
burning up,
bigger.
is what they burn up. So you really
Exactly.
like to see them flare up, because that means they're not going to land on your house.
Right, exactly. And you can even pay attention to the color too. Sometimes the slightly larger ones will glow a little bit green or blue and tell you if there's nickel or iron or something
Oh,
else
so what
cool.
you're seeing is the metallic.
Yeah, you're actually seeing the metals burn up and they
And
shine
the
a
cobalt.
different
I
color.
remember doing those flame tests.
Yeah, in
oh
the
my
chemistry
God.
class.
Yeah. Oh my God. Remember that? You put the little wire and
Ages ago. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, you brought back memories. So that we can observe those. Why don't we ever see the northern lights here?
Well, we're a little bit too far south.
Yeah, that's
right?
too
so
bad.
we have to see the northern or the southern lights. They happen in the south
Oh,
too.
they do? Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, you have to be near the magnetic north or the magnetic south pole. That's where most of the particles are attracted to, and then they hit the atmosphere.
And then
when
they just-
hit, yeah, the oxygen and nitrogen, they glow green and blue. So
And
we're
I've seen them.
usually-
I saw them from a plane.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, the pilot says, "Oh, look out!" He says, "There's the northern lights."
Yeah. If the sun is particularly active, which it is occasionally, we can sometimes see them here in this part of New York, but we're usually a little bit too far south to see them.
Now you're at Oneonta now, and
Yes.
they have a planetarium and an
We
observatory.
have all sorts of stuff.
Is it open yet? I know you're waiting for it to open.
I know, we're waiting on word from the state. So we have a small science center, an observatory with the largest telescope at a college campus in New York State.
Really?
Yeah, and a small planetarium. So we kind of are everything all packaged together in one.
Okay, so they have a pretty good astrophysics department, or
Yeah,
is
yeah,
that what
we're-
I want to say?
Yeah, we're actually a fairly small department. I think there's 5 or 6 of us now, including myself. So
Okay.
a small department, but we're trying to grow. We offer a physics major and an astronomy minor. And now that we have 2 astronomy professors, me and my colleague, Dr. Nolenberg, we work together and we're trying to build an astrophysics major and get more students to join, because we have a lot of amazing equipment that the students haven't utilized very much. So that's one of my goals.
And I
is to
think
try
you
and-
sent a few pictures, and we put them up there, I think. I know, I've been looking at
Yeah,
it,
yeah, I
Valerie,
know.
so I haven't been looking at the screen. I don't know what
I
they've
think I sent some pictures of my students. There's the observatory
Okay.
on the left-hand side there. And one of our photos, there's a strange picture of a deer. And if they're
I saw
wondering,
that. What was that?
So there's been a lot of wildfires out west, and the winds have actually been carrying the wildfire smoke to this side of the country.
Really?
And so we haven't been able to observe on some clear nights. The sky is just too hazy.
Yeah.
So one night we were going to get ready to observe, and it was still a little bit light out, and my students saw some deer in the distance, and they pointed them out. And I was like, well, why don't you point the telescope at the deer? And they were like, we can do that? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, think binoculars. Like,
Yeah,
we
well,
use
yeah,
this
yeah,
for,
yeah.
for looking at nature all the time. So we pointed the telescopes at the
And you
deer
took
and we
a photo.
snapped some pictures.
Oh, how
just,
cool.
Just
Yeah.
for fun, to show that, even if it's cloudy, you can still look at some things with telescopes.
Well, it seems to me that astrophysics would be a really great field to be in because of our space exploration. I'm sure that if you go to Houston or one of the, the control centers, they got a lot of people in there working on it, and they didn't all just, drop in and say, put in a job application. They had to have some experience.
Right, right. Well, and that's the beauty. People can be, astronomers, aerospace engineers, physicists, any kind of science or engineering. There's a place for you at NASA or SpaceX or Boeing or all of these companies that are now building their own rockets, designing space planes. It's such a growing field. So any young person who's interested in it, there's going to be a million jobs opening up.
What a great field. And of course, you're involved in the black holes and all the rest that.
I keep an eye on those too.
Yeah, I mean, where everything gets compressed and stuff, yeah.
Exactly. Thankfully, there isn't one near us.
No, thank goodness. I mean, they could suck the Earth in, and then that's the end of that. We don't have to worry about the pandemic or anything if that happens.
That's true.
So you like being over at Oneonta?
I do.
Yeah.
I'm having a blast working with the students, and I love that there's so many opportunities similar to what I was doing here at miSci and the Dudley Observatory, because they have the Science Center and Planetarium, and they appreciate the outreach that I do. So, we can have these amazing things in the capital region, and then people can take a small trip down to Oneonta and see similar equipment.
Exactly.
So,
and actually, we got the miSci coming up after this. So
I can't wait to hear all the new things that are happening there. I've got to go visit again.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that you were involved with the organization in the past, and now have moved on and doing some really wonderful stuff. I'm sure you're a fabulous professor, because whenever you're on the show, I'm just enthralled with what you have. So you know what it is, Valerie? You just have the energy.
I know. I'm so excited to tell everybody about space.
Yeah.
And it shows.
Me too. I mean, it's like, I just want to. It's like I'm like a sponge. Tell me more. Tell me more.
What's happening?
And I'm always anything to do with space. I'm reading in the newspaper, and this guy going into space, that just blows my mind.
It's amazing that just the common person now can get a ticket and go to space, either on the space plane or the rockets. I would love to get high enough to actually see the curvature of the Earth.
I know, we talked about that before, about what, I think I heard you talking on WAMC about that, the curvature. Somebody says, how far would you have to be to see? That you mean it's not flat?
No, promise you that it's not flat.
I was pretty sure it wasn't, but
I was. You got to check, right? You got to ask the astronomer just to be sure.
Well, I laughed because someone posted on Facebook about the Flat Earth Society, their Facebook page. I don't know if you saw it, and it says, underneath it says, we have members from all over the globe.
Right?
And I was laughing when I read that. I go, really?
Did you realize what you just said?
But we know that the Earth is round, and that we are turning in our axis, however that is, and hopefully we'll just keep doing that. I don't know if we ever got stuck, we'd all die probably.
Yeah, it wouldn't be very pleasant, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think that's going to happen either. Valerie, I wish you so much success at Oneonta.
Thank you very much.
And whenever you plan to come into the area, give me a call, and you're going to get you on the show, because I love talking to you, and I know that a few other people have commented, oh, Valerie's coming. So
that's great. Thank you so much for having me, and people should feel free to check out our website. We should know soon if we're going to be open
now,
to the
when you
public.
have the observatory and the planetarium open, can the average person walk in?
Yep, so normally we're open on either Friday or Saturday nights. We have planetarium shows, visits to the observatory, so as soon as we get the thumbs up, it'll be all over our website and Facebook
you just
page.
Keep me posted, Valerie. It's
will.
Always good to see you,
Yes,
and
great
it's
to
such
see
a
you
pleasure to know that you're in a new location, that you can just spread the word. Good, and excite those young people.
Excellent, thank you.
Keep exciting them too. And we're going to switch right over to the miSci. Hi, how are you, Gina?
I'm great. How are you?
The president of miSci, and they have a planetarium as well, which is so much fun.
We do have a planetarium, and we have another great director of the planetarium, Stephen Spiek.
Yes, I met him when I went to one of your planetarium shows, and he was very good. I thought he gave a very good presentation and made you excited looking at Ursa Minor and Ursa Major and all those things up there. I don't know. I can't get all those names.
I can't get all those names either. I'm a geologist. I look down.
You're a geologist. What do you know about that? But you're here to talk about goosebumps, because we all have these fears, but we love to be scared, and yet it's like, should I be scared or should I really be scared? So tell me what the reaction is to people.
Well, people love it, number one, because it's very hands-on and interactive, and it really explores the many kinds of fears to include, and I didn't know this, people have a fear of knees.
A fear of what?
Knees.
Knees?
Knees.
You,
Knees.
I'm elbows and knees?
Yes, I know somebody who actually cannot stand to see other people's elbows. She has a fear of elbows. I don't know.
Is it a fear or an aversion? That's different.
Oh,
You can be have an aversion to, say,
No, it's a
salmon,
fear.
but I don't have a fear of it.
No, it's a fear.
It really is.
It really is. And they talk about this in the exhibit, and they talk about, it's really well done, and it's structured for people of all ages. It's very interactive. There's one activity, fear of falling, where you actually
I know, I saw some
strapped into
kids
that.
do that. It
Yeah.
was like amazing.
Yeah. And they take your picture as you're falling backwards to see.
Yeah, but you have a handler there, so
We
it's
have a
not
handler
like,
there.
they're going to really get hurt or anything. Nobody gets hurt.
Nobody gets hurt, but it's really interesting. Most of them sit up in the, because you're standing straight up, and as this thing goes down, a lot of the kids will sit up straight and not allow themselves to fall.
Yeah, and you really need to go with the gravity.
Correct.
Yeah, I
And,
know.
but there's another thing about fear of insects and reptiles.
Yeah, I
where you
saw
put
the
your
signs on
hands
the
in.
wall and there were some spheres that it was like, really? Is that a fear? But I used to watch Monk, the TV show, and he had, I think he said 233,
Phobias?
Phobias or something. I forgot what the number is. I'm making that up. But anyway, so people do have like fear of, heights. Fear of heights I can understand. Fear of water I can understand, because you could die, But some of them are a little bit strange, like you
Yeah.
say, the fear of elbows you're not going to die.
You're not going to die. I don't know. I never really understood the fear of spiders and snakes myself.
Me neither.
Because I like them, and they serve a purpose,
Yeah.
right? But the kids love the exhibit. The parents love the exhibit.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't think that they realize how many fears. I mean, a fear of clowns. Who has a fear of clowns?
Well, after
so
all those
the-
movies,
Well, that's true. I didn't watch those movies.
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
to say. So yeah, we're really enjoying, and we also have another exhibit up on Earth and Space and Universe that's bilingual.
Oh, that's great.
And,
That's a new one, right?
That's
With
a
the
new one.
bilingual,
We
yeah.
have that for a year, and that's actually the direction miSci wants to go in, is to have all of our exhibits
Bilingual.
that we create be bilingual. So
Yeah.
we're really excited about having that in. It's very hands-on, and it's designed for both, 10 and 14-year-olds, but real little ones, because we have little tables where the kids can create puzzles, do puzzles,
Yeah.
and put the universe together, and they really enjoy it.
Well, one of the things that I like about the museum is that it's interactive. And I noticed I was in one of the rooms with the fear thing, with the goosebumps thing, and you had these little things where you have to stick your hand in.
Yeah.
And this little girl was next to me, and she goes, I don't think I can do that. And I said, well, let's do it together. Maybe we
Right.
could do that together and see. She wasn't going to do that with me. So, I put my hand in and I yelled, oh my God. And she looked I said, no, it was nothing.
I did that too, actually. And we've been doing that. So we're running summer camps. I think this is why I'm wearing the mask, because we are taking it very seriously to protect our kids.
Yeah,
We have
yeah.
about
And
6
actually, I have my mask here. I just want to, since you brought that up, I will go on. Proctor's has a mandate that anyone in Proctor's has to wear a mask unless we are filming, and they're allowing us, because we have that 6-foot distance between us, and you have to be vaccinated to sit at this table to not wear a mask. And then as soon as they get up, they put their mask back on. We just are taking the pandemic very seriously here at Proctor's, and we noticed that even, and I'm sorry to digress, but we noticed that even on Broadway now, they've already mandated that you can't even be in the audience unless you are vaccinated and wear a mask. So we have to take this very seriously.
Well,
right?
that's miSci. We're all vaccinated. In order to work at miSci, you must be vaccinated. And we all wear masks. And we wear masks all day long, because we can be carrying the
Exactly.
the
See, the
virus
thing they
and
don't
give
realize.
it to the children.
Yeah,
And
they don't
I wanna do
realize
that.
that we can carry it. Even if you're vaccinated,
Correct.
you'd be carrying that Delta virus, the
That's-
Delta variant.
That's correct.
And not realize that you're carrying it even, and then pass it on to someone who is vulnerable.
That's correct. So I'm now wearing a mask everywhere I go, and that's why I'm here wearing masks, because I want people to know that it's really important to protect the children. they cannot get
And
vaccinated.
that 5 and under, they can't get the vaccine, so I believe, or
It's
12 and under, 12 and under. I'm
12
sorry,
and
what did I
under.
say, 5, but 12 and
Right,
under.
12 and under, and I understand that there was a big outbreak in one of the Edison Country Club's camps this week. One group got sick, like 12 kids, and so that's the worst thing that can happen, right?
And we don't know a lot
That's
about.
PTSD right there.
Yeah, and we don't know a lot about the Delta variant, and
Correct.
and I know people say, well, first they said this, and then they said that, yeah, but we don't know what's happening down the road.
Well, I like to tell people, because I am an evolutionary biologist.
Yes, I know you are. That's why we're talking a little bit about this.
And so that virus came from bats. And we have to think about that for a minute, because bats are the only mammals that fly. They are very bizarre animals. And they
I love bats,
echolocate.
actually.
I do too.
Yeah.
They're beautiful. They're soft. I've tagged
Yeah,
bats. And they're very important to our
They're an
ecosystem.
ecosystem, yeah.
Very important, but they're very bizarre, and they evolve quickly. And so we can see that from the fossil record, that they evolved very quickly, and we can continue to see that in their DNA. So we know that this virus, which is very long, is going to continue to evolve.
Evolve, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I think it's really unfair for people to say, well, the CDC didn't, said this, but it's this. We don't know.
We don't know.
Science
No.
is science. We're always at the cutting edge of science, and we're just constantly trying to figure it out.
And the viruses are always ahead of us.
The viruses and they've been around for a really long time, a lot longer than humans have, a lot longer than any
They know how to
other
evolve
living
too.
thing.
And they're gonna maintain their lifestyle, right, wherever it is.
That's correct.
But we're gonna come back to the fear. So we're talking about fear, and I have a fear of the Delta variant. So I guess I'm right in there with goosebumps.
Well, I think that's a little bit different. There's phobias.
Okay.
And there's real fears,
Okay.
right? I mean, I think that I think a phobia of a snake that is in a cage
That
can
can't
never,
touch you.
that can't touch you is a little off the norm, right? Or a phobia of a spider that has no venom, that's just sort of hanging out and doing its thing. And
I
eating
pick
its-
them up and carry them outside.
the same
Put them right
thing.
out there. Go on, honey.
I put them on my plants.
Yeah, I'm always doing that. I'm carrying stuff outside, if I find it, unless it's an ant, and then I stomp on it.
Well, I don't do that. I try to scoop those guys up.
Oh, out in my kitchen? No, they get stomped.
Okay. I understand.
But that's just me.
Yeah, I
So,
understand.
Goosebumps. How long will Goosebumps be up?
So Goosebumps is now staying until October 31st.
Oh,
How
what an appropriate
apropos
day.
is that, right? And then what follows is a miSci curated exhibit called Seeing Yourself, and it really looks at the beginnings of how we perceive ourselves. So, cave drawings of people, and then, little paintings of ourselves, miniature portraits, and then photographs, et cetera, mirrors. So that'll be really fun.
Good. So no, we're not going to have any vampires in there, right? Because,
I didn't say that.
well, they don't like mirrors.
It depends on which vampire show you watch.
Okay, there you go. See,
I
a
watch 'em all.
new topic with us. One thing I love about Gina is when we talk, it can go in any direction.
Correct.
But right now, we're talking with Dr. Gina Gould, and she is the president of miSci, and talking about Goosebumps, and then a new one coming up. And I think Chris Hunter is going to be on to talk about the next exhibition coming
You're
up.
Seeing Yourselves, and we just opened up our new gallery, our lecture
I
gallery.
can't wait to see
you
that.
have to come see it. And in there, we have hung the New York World Fairs, right? There were two. 1964 and another
I went to that in the
one.
1964. I went to,
Most people
but not the 39.
Right, so we got them both. We got pictures of both and a lot of GE pictures, right, of all
I
the
have
lighting.
original stuff from that World Fair.
Why don't you let us put that on display in
I will.
case?
I'll pull it out.
Okay, Chris
Yeah,
would
cool.
love
See
that.
what we do here. That's all. We just chit chat.
Yeah, so everybody should come see that because it was in New York.
I know.
and,
I was there. Yeah.
Actually, Neil Golub told me he took Jane Golub there on their honeymoon.
Oh wow.
When he came in, he got all nostalgic and said, "Well, that's like where he took Jane here for our honeymoon,"
Cool.
which was lovely.
Cool. Of course, Jane's gone. And
Yeah.
we adored her for
We
what
did
she did.
adore her.
Thanks for being here. And I just want to share this with you. This has nothing to do with the show, but I just wanted to give that to you. And I want to thank you so much for being here today, and we're going to chat
We're gonna
otherwise.
chat.
Yeah,
Okay,
good.
thank you so
Yeah,
much.
Great seeing you.
Good, bye-bye.
We're going to switch over to Steve Kowalski, and oh my gosh, he's an amazing man. You do art, you do everything, and I think you even had, when I was doing the exhibits in the old OTB building, I think you might have done one
Yeah,
there
right in
too.
the front window.
It was
Yeah.
way back when. Shall we even go there? And you brought an artist with you too. Hi Kathy, good to see you here today. The art show. Oh my gosh, that is an amazing. You didn't have one last year, right?
We did.
You did.
Yep, we.
Did I miss that?
Well, it was sort of under the radar. We got the okay from the city. We knew this year was the 70th year, and we.
You had to do it.
We had to.
Yeah.
And the city was really great with us. We were outside, so they treated us like the green market.
Oh yeah.
Everybody was masked, and we
Yep.
had, the protocols and.
Well, we all have to be careful, and as Gina had just said in the last segment, that we really have to be careful about this variant. And, we have the Delta variant now, and next week it might be what comes after Delta?
Yeah, Epsilon.
Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta, Epsilon?
Yeah.
I think that's the next one.
Yeah.
Could be the Epsilon variant, who knows?
Never know.
What was I waxing poetic here? Anyways, sorry about that, Steve.
That's okay, that's
So
okay.
it's going to be on September the 11th, is that
Yes,
correct?
Yep, and the rain date will be the 12th.
The 12th, and you have it on North Ferry and Front Street area,
Yeah, that whole.
and you will expand it however you need to.
Yeah, we go from Front Street, from North Street to North Church, and then Union Street on North Ferry up to Lawrence.
And I have been there, and I have wonderful video that we've taken there of the artists, because they have, it's all kinds of art.
really
It could
is.
be fabrics, it could be sculptures, it could be anything. And we have Kathy with us today. Hi, Kathy. Good to see you here. And Klompas is your
Yes.
last name, and you're an artist. Show us what you do, and then we'll talk about a little bit about the art that you
Well,
do.
I'm a printmaker, and I do work on both textiles and fabric.
A printmaker?
Printmaker. So I have a printmaking studio over in Cohoes, Ragged Edge. So I have a big etching press, and these are monotypes. So I work very intuitively with ink and actually also with dyes. And I will print layers onto paper, goes through the etching press. So
And what was that? Let's look at the last one you just showed up, or first one you showed up. What is that? Is a painting, or will that be fabric, or what?
This is on paper.
Okay.
But I'm actually using dyes that I also print onto silk with. So it's a little different than traditional printmaking with traditional printmaking inks, and I usually use a combination of those, but it is printed onto paper, and I do go through the etching press. But a monotype is a very painterly form of printmaking, so I'm actually painting onto a plexi plate, and then I run it through the press onto paper, and I can build up layers because I could then paint another plate and print on top. Or it could
So
be
is this
done in
for a
one.
single piece?
This is a unique one of a kind.
One of a kind. That's what I was wondering, or whether this is
Yes.
something that would be replicated.
No. this
Unless
is
you do
not.
copies of it.
Yeah, so an etching or a leaf print, something where you have a matrix, a plate that you have something permanent on, you're going to be able to repeat. I'm working on a plate that has nothing on it. So it's basically like doing a painting.
It's a one of a kind.
Yeah, and I mean, artists like Degas started out by flipping their etchings over and painting onto the back of their etching plate and running it through the press to get a very quick painterly
really?
kind of work.
Okay.
So it's
So
been around
Degas
for a
did
long
that?
time. Yeah. Mhm.
I never thought of him. I thought he was
Well,
just a.
we don't think of that artists really did do printmaking.
Yeah.
right
I was
along.
thinking maybe just as watercolors or.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different mediums that can be used for printmaking, and a lot of people are experimenting
Okay, let's
in
take a look at
different
another
ways.
one that you have here, just to give a view of what you're doing. And
Yeah.
is this the first time you've seen these, Steve?
Oh,
or-
no, I go to the Ragged Edge, and we're doing some silk screens
Oh,
there.
okay, good.
Yeah, we do different mediums.
That
in
looks
the-
like a pears or plums.
You know, I work very abstractly usually.
But see, I saw something in there.
Exactly, and that's what I like. People will take from it what they
And
want
it
to
could
see.
be, I could say it was a flower upside down.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we could flip it over, and then maybe you really want to see a flower.
Oh,
But-
that's interesting.
but,
And sideways, it'd be something else.
Yeah, I tend to, and that's why I like the
Oh, that
sp-
looks like
the
a a bee or a
The square
bug.
format is kind of nice to work
I
with.
love this. This is fun.
And it's mostly, for me, it's about getting the energy
Yeah.
of the painting. It's a very loose painting, and the energy of running it through the press and adding those layers. So I think that's one thing I like
And
to
that's a
show.
one of a kind too.
One of a kind.
And
But-
do you sell those?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, definitely. This is also, again, in this case, I've used a mask which was crocheted out of wire that I was able to put down on the paper on the plate, and when it ran through the press, that's the impression that you're getting there.
Oh, okay.
And you might recognize maybe in this one more of that.
Oh, yeah, it looks like a
looks like
crocheted, yeah.
crocheted doily there, but it's actually, it was a crocheted wire. The other one I just let go. So that's just another way of bringing something else in texture into it.
These are very interesting pieces.
Thank you, yeah.
No, I really like them. They're very nice.
I also, the next two pieces I have are a very simple printmaking technique that I actually do teach sometimes at Arlene's Artists. and
Oh, so you
Creative
do teach
Community
as well.
Studio.
Oh,
And
look at that. I
they're done
love the,
with a
the
gel plate.
symmetry and-
So we don't need a press, so we can do a monotype without a press. And you might recognize there's a feather in here and there's leaves. So I printed a layer in one color using leaves and feathers to mask.
how
We printed
creative
another
this
layer.
is. And you probably don't know what the result is going to be.
Oh, I love that. I love that it's a
That's what I
surprise.
mean. It's like when you
Yes.
get it done, you go, wow.
Yes, and I may know a little more than somebody who's doing their first monotype, but it's a very accessible way to work, and you can learn to start to control it.
Oh, that's beautiful.
But still, really, it's when you're going to run it through a press, and then you're going to pull the blanket back and pull your paper off your plate, and that's that aha. And usually if there's other people in the studio,
They do the same
they're
thing.
running over to see, okay, what's coming off, because we kind of saw it in the process.
And these are done with leaves?
Yeah, these are done with rhododendron leaves that I pressed, and I have in the studio, and I use over and over. And there's a little bit of elderberry
Okay.
twigs that were pressed. On the first one, you could probably, it's hard to see because I've got layers in there.
Yeah.
But there was a feather in here, as well as the other things.
What a
So
great, you must just have a
it-
ball
it's-
doing this.
It's a lot of fun, and when I do teach the classes, everybody it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
And do they, when they take a class from you, do they get a finished product?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes, yeah, they definitely go home with things ready to frame.
Oh, how wonderful.
And I like to have people first start working just very loosely and not think about coming up with a finished product. Sometimes I make people work very fast and print multiples, so they're getting out of their head and they're not thinking.
Yeah.
And then,
Just go with it.
ideally, what happens is they pull one off and they go, wow, I could frame this one. And that then gets them loosened up and working it's very loose, very, very fun, and not something where you have to manage the process too much.
So Steve, you've been quiet here, listening
That's
to her.
okay. No,
Fascinating, isn't
I
it?
love hanging out with Kathy.
Yeah. So I know that you're an artist.
Yes.
What is your media?
Really, everything. I try, sculpture.
I know that you've
out
done
of
sculpture.
Just out of found objects, and right now I'm doing some flower silk screens, and just keeping it alive.
Where's your studio? In your basement or in your living room?
In the back room
Yeah.
of the apartment, yes. So.
Because you have to have space to do all of those
yeah.
things. Now, we've looked at Kathy's with her prints, which are amazing. I mean, I have to admit, I was not aware of much of this, and I'm just fascinated. And the Degas thing just blew me away right there. But anyway, so when you are talking about the art show, you really mean art. You don't mean a painting. You don't mean it's only got to be in watercolors or acrylics or oils
There's a
or what.
large-
So who can display?
Well, our mission is to really have the venue to keep the fine arts alive.
And fine arts are different.
Yeah, painting, sculpture, fabric arts, watercolor, and photography.
And these are juried, aren't they?
We have two judges, Lainey Nemeth, who is a painting professor, art professor at Union College, and Ken Hawkey, who
Oh, he's an artist, yeah.
he is.
Oh,
And
I've seen
from-
his work.
he's
He's
from
wonderful,
Schenectady,
wonderful work.
And he agreed to be a judge this year
Yeah.
for the 70th, so it's a
Yeah,
nice little
I've seen his
tie.
work.
Oh,
It's
wonderful.
amazing, yeah.
So, so they'll be judged, and this year, we have raised the first prize from $500 to, $2,000.
Oh, well, just a
Yeah,
little bump
so,
there, huh?
Yeah, so.
Are you
to
excited
give-
about that,
I'm
Kathy?
very excited.
And, just to celebrate the 70th year.
Yeah.
And we'll see how how
Yeah.
it all works out.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you very much, Kathy, for being here and showing your art to us. I'm very appreciative to have shared this moment with you to learn a little bit more about it. So thank you so much for being here. Now, Steve, when we talk about the ability for people to actually, do they have to pay to exhibit? Is that it?
Yes,
I mean,
they're-
because you don't get that $1,500 or $2,000.
Right. There is a $40 registration fee, and that entitles you to be not judged, but juried by the
You
judges.
enter in.
Yes, and if you go online to the website, you can register for $30.
Okay.
Until August 28th.
And can they
then
sell their products there?
Oh,
Or I shouldn't
absolutely.
say products, that
Yes.
sounds terrible to
Yep,
say that, but.
Their artworks,
their
their
artwork,
wares,
yeah.
yes, absolutely. And, you'll have some type of setup. The judges will come to your booth. There's usually a little tag that you get when you register to be in the show. And you don't have to register to be in the show. You can
Okay.
show up and sell your
Okay.
wares
Okay.
that way. And yes, then they're judged, and then we have an award ceremony at usually 2:30 or 3 o'clock.
I want to ask you though, like, suppose I go there with 10, I mean, nobody goes with 10, but suppose I have 10 pieces there and I want to be juried. Do they pick the one they're going to choose, or do you say, I want you to judge this one?
We used to have one, in the olden days, you would bring one piece to put in the circle to be judged.
Okay,
And we have done away with the judging circle. So when the judges come around now, they come to your booth and they judge on your body of work.
on your body of work.
Yeah. And
Okay, good.
the artist can talk about one piece or whatever, but it's an overall body of work.
So what we want to do in this segment is to tell people that they should save the date. It's September the 11th. Actually, that's going to be quite a day because the Italian festival is the same day.
And the Greek festival.
And the
I
Greek
see is
festival,
going on
oh,
as
they're going to
well.
do it
Yes.
again? Okay, because I didn't hear back from them.
I
so
just
would-
saw it on Facebook.
Okay, good. So they're coming back as well. So it's going to be a great day. Mark it on your calendar so that you can devote the entire day to checking out what's going on, and don't miss the, there's a rain date if it rains, but,
the next day.
Yeah, good. Thanks, Steve, for being here.
Thank you, Ann,
We're going to find out about something else that's going on in the Stockade, and that's a garden tour. How wonderful. Colleen, so good to have you
Well,
on.
thank you so much for having me.
Yes, and tell me about, we talked about hidden gardens. I've been on the garden tour in the past, and it's like, so you walk around and wow, it's like amazing.
Well, people know us for our curbsides, and they're interesting, and then the beautiful architecture and everything. And when you look at the homes, everything's right like this.
Yeah,
Unless
because
maybe
the
there's
walls are walls.
A small alleyway that you can
Yeah.
fit a garbage can down
Yeah.
maybe or something. And it truly is amazing because once you get through either someone's home, if you're invited inside, or you walk down an alleyway, and Lord knows what's going to open up behind that house. I mean, it's just incredible. We have 2 homes on Washington Avenue that literally, as soon as you get through the gate and behind the rear facade of the home, they stretch for hundreds of feet.
I know. That amazed
All
me.
the way down to the Binnakill.
That amazed me.
Yeah, it's so exciting. And then we have others that are literally little postage stamp size.
But you can do so much with those.
Yeah, and it feels good when you're in each one of them, because you can almost just like, you can just wander and daydream and just say.
It's magical, isn't it?
It is magical.
Yeah.
It really is magical. And there's just something, I've loved the Stockade. I've loved the art. I've chaired the art show. And
you have art along with us, is that correct?
So the fun thing this year.
And we have a couple of pictures that we're going to show as well.
Yeah, I did send a few in.
Yeah, I think they're going to bring, there it is, they're going to bring that one up. Okay, now look at that, that is really.
So here's the wonderful thing about that. That is actually a mask.
A mask?
That's a paper mache mask that's about this big. It's
Okay.
completely oversized. And
Oh, that's a paper mache mask.
it is. If you saw the backside of it, even the backside is a work of art in just the way it's constructed.
Really? And who
Yeah.
did that?
So at our committee meeting, we're trying to decide what to do for art. And I've worked on a volunteer basis on and off for more than 2 decades with Living Resources.
Oh, yeah, they do wonderful work.
Wonderful work. And a lot of people don't know that they have this incredible art program. It's called
Really?
the Carriage House Artist. And it used to literally, they had a carriage house in the Albany area. And it's literally studio work, studio trained artists, with people with living resources who don't know, help people with developmental disabilities and traumatic brain injuries.
Yeah.
And these folks are passionate about their art. I mean, literally passionate. And so they said, well, give them a call.
So they made the mask and then somebody took a photo of it?
I took a photo of it.
That's amazing.
So over the past 3 months, I've had the pleasure of working with Sergio Camacho, who's the director of art for Living Resources. And they've gotten so large that they've actually expanded out of the carriage house. They have 2 new studios as well. One is here in Schenectady, and the other one is up in Malta. And
I'm going to get them on the show because this is
you
wonderful,
really
wonderful
need to.
information.
You really need to. And so I get the chills when I talk about it. Because
that's great.
I have a brother with developmental disabilities,
Sure.
but we've curated the garden tour. We have 9 private homes, a couple public gardens, and one of the churches. We've curated it with more than 110 pieces of art from Living Resources. So I get to leave here and go and put everything in place today.
Oh, wonderful.
But we have,
and now, just to let everyone know, this is going to be on August the 7th, and isn't it?
this coming beautiful sunny
Isn't it August the
Saturday.
7th?
It is.
Yeah, August the 7th.
Right.
Yeah, I got the right day.
Just a few short days away.
Yeah.
So we've transported all the art in. It's all ready for each specific garden.
And we've shown, I think, and there's another painting there too as
So
well.
this is another painting, and to me, this is just what a horizon out of one of the beautiful backyards along the Binnikill would look like, and there's woodblock prints, there's the paper mache mask, there's beautiful acrylics, and there's like Bruce Jordan's yard there's a sentinel of this huge birch tree out front. And I saw the birch tree, I got over to the studio in Malta, and they had actually done a study on a different technique for stippling, and there was a whole collection of birch trees. And so Bruce's yard is being donned by birch trees, plus 2 beautiful pieces of work by his godson, who's actually studied art under the Carriage House art program
Isn't that
for
something?
19 years.
Oh my gosh.
So, I mean, it's just like,
Well, and it's so nice.
exciting.
I mean, we just had Steve on the show and talking about art and the different medias, and it was so interesting that you're talking about Living Resources, their art program, where they have all different kinds of media. You would think they would just be dealing with one type, but no, they let the participants choose.
And developed,
Yeah.
really, really developed. These young artists developed their work to a degree. I've studied some art and never. They'll come in, because I've been there now for how many times, they'll come in and show me their work, and it's just so beautifully put together. And, and being a not-for-profit organization and not always having a lot of funds available, the work that they've done with reclaimed material, reused material.
I know, it's amazing when they do that.
Beautiful pieces of artwork on pieces of corrugated cardboard. And we're featuring the garden or the courtyard at the First Reformed Church First Reformed Church is like #1 in the
It is,
Stockade
yeah,
area
yeah, it is.
for reclamation
Yes,
and being green.
absolutely.
And so everything in that courtyard is like green art, basically.
Okay, so they need to get tickets because it's also a fundraiser. It's $25 a day of, but $20 in advance. You do have a website, and it's called www.historicalstockade.org.
Yeah, historicstockade.org.
And that will be from 10 to 5 on the 7th.
Correct.
So we
Yeah.
want to encourage people to
Oh,
support
please
you
come
and
out.
come and see it. And I'm
Please
going to
come
try,
out.
if I can get there, I will be there
I hope
too.
to see you on this-
Absolutely.
Okay.
I
Thank
do
you
want to
so much.
say who's coming up next week so that everybody knows. We're going to be talking with Amy Sonder, and she's with the DSIC, the Downtown Schenectady Improvement Corporation. We're going to be talking with a filmmaker. She's just come out with a film that will be released on the 30th of August. We're going to be talking about an event coming up at Freedom Park, and also the Lake George Music Festival. Those people will be here. And then of all things, the New York Capital District Renaissance Festival, I think they're coming in costumes. So we're going to have a really great show next week, so we hope that you'll watch. I'm Ann Pearl, your host for Capital Region Today.